Line up, I got you covered. Nigel.
What the f? Yeah, we need to smoke it right here, move up.
Right over there?
Yeah, I'd say right over there to the left a little bit.
Move that ball up!
Awesome.
What the fuck is that?
Tippmann. Badass, huh?
Yeah.
You wanna shoot it?
The Tippmann M4 carbine. Now, a lot of people are asking, well, why Tippmann? What's wrong with AEGs or what's wrong with Polar Stars? Well, Tippmann offers something a little bit different, and that's going to be the kick and the kind of recoil that you're going to get out of your Tippmann, as well as the reliability of the Tippmann name and those guts. The internals that Tippmann's using are tried and proven for years, for decades in the paintball industry. So it's something that, you know, you're not modding yourself. It's ready to go out of the box, and you can kind of, it's kind of a safe investment. They're going to come stock with an 80-round magazine. Now, the cool thing about these magazines is that it also stores the 12-gram CO2 cartridge. So if you don't want to run your HPA line, you can just run the CO2 mag option. So the big argument about this is you pretty much are always told it's a better bet to go with your HPA line, your tank and line type thing that you see with like your Polar Stars and Daytona guns and all those things. But I'm not a big fan of the line or the tank, so I'm going to get rid of mine and just run it with 4 CO2 80-round magazines. Now, it does seem kind of wasteful, but if you break it down in your head and think about it in these terms, check this out. So your standard CO2 1911 single stack mag is going to be about 14, 15 rounds, right? You're putting a 12-gram CO2 cartridge in there, and you can get probably let's say 3 to 4 magazine reload. And that's a stretch. You're probably not going to get that 4th mag refill out of your 1911 CO2 mag. You're going to have 56 BBs, okay? So 56 BBs out of one CO2 cartridge, whereas with the Tippmann M4, it's going to be an 80-round magazine all in one mag. You're not having to refill it, and you're good to go. So if you get this gun, the Tippmann M4, and you kind of use it in terms that you would with a gas blowback or a CO2 blowback, you know what I mean? As far as your gameplay goes and the tactics that you're using, you know, picking your shots, you're not going to be there to suppress or, you know, lay out BBs like you would with an AEG. And that actually makes airsoft gaming a lot of fun, in my opinion. The CO2 mags is a viable option in my book, yes. If you don't want to do the line, if you don't want to do the HPA tank and line, CO2 mags, I think, are more than efficient. Now, one thing I will say is that the magazines, when you're removing them, they are still under a bit of pressure. So when you put the mag in, it'll click once, and that means that the mag is seated, but it still has some up and down play to it. And it's kind of like if it was an AEG, you're like, I don't even know if that's going to feed. But in the terms of the Tippmann, that extra slack, that up and down play in the mag, is designed for you to slap the mag once again, nice and firm on the bottom, not overly hard, but nice and firm, slapping it, and what that's going to do is going to pop the seal on the top of the CO2 cartridge and get that CO2 flowing into your gun. When you're using it, it is going to shoot every bit of 80 BBs for sure, so that's not a concern. You're going to spit out all 80 BBs, and there's actually a little bit more left, and I think Tippmann kind of designed that. They definitely measured it to make sure that you're going to get every BB out of there, but there's going to be extra CO2 left, which is nice. I'd rather have extra CO2 than extra BBs for sure, but the thing about it is that the back pressure from the CO2 mag is gonna make it kind of hard to pull that mag out prematurely. So you really are almost forced to dump this thing. So I just usually flip it in full auto, spray it out. Usually you can kind of dry fire it for about 10 to 15 dry fires, and that's how close it is until that CO2 depletes, and then there's not enough CO2 to make the gun function anymore, and it kind of opens a valve, and then it just kind of burps out, blah, 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 as you can see in these videos here. the other downfall of that is if you know, if you got friends like me that have come from the paintball world into airsoft and they hear that sputter out when you're down, when you're depleting your CO2 magazine, that's a good sign in the paintball world that they know that you're out and that you're out of CO2 and that you got to reload. And a lot of times in the world of paintball, so I've been told, is that they'll listen for that sound, and it's kind of like when you hear the ting on an M1 Grand type thing, they know you're out of rounds, and they'll rush you and they'll bunker the crap out of you and light you up with paintball. But the gun is going to come with the option to go HPA. So if that is your cup of tea, then you can definitely go HPA, and it's so quick to change this thing out. It comes with all the parts that you're going to need to switch it over to a tank and line. It's going to come with a very, very handy manual and instruction guide, and it's going to have all the information in there, your troubleshooting, but it's going to have, more importantly, all the information on how to convert the gun back and forth from HPA to CO2. So make sure you hold on to this thing, because anytime you got to work into this gun, which is really easy, but you will want to consult with the manual for sure. So definitely keep this in a safe spot. Everything's going to be adjustable by Allen keys. So the hop-up's going to be adjustable by Allen keys. The rate of fire adjustment, which is a really cool feature on this gun, is going to be adjustable by Allen key. And then the other really quick mod that I found from some other YouTube videos out there concerning the M4 Tippmann is that it has a very springy sound to it, a very boing type thing when you shoot the gun. And it does kind of get annoying, and it does kind of kill, like, oh man, it sounds like a Springer on steroids almost, with a large kick. But the really simple do-it-yourself mod is to take a single layer of paper. In this case, I just used white printer paper. I wrapped it on the spring of the buffer, of the bolt inside the buffer tube, popped that out, wrapped it up with paper, put a single piece of tape around it, stuffed it back in there, and it's just enough for the paper to absorb the spring noise. So that's a really quick, easy, and neat little mod you can do to kind of dampen that spring sound on your Tippmann. Now the gun is going to be a solid metal receiver, very nice quality on the receiver for sure. As you'd come to expect with a lot of AGs, you're going to have your metal outer barrier, metal buffer tube. Everything else is plastic that you would expect to be plastic, except on the Crossman they did kind of cut some corners. I wouldn't say cut corners, but they decided to go with a high quality polymer rail system handguard on the front. Now I'm not a big fan of the design of this particular rail system on the front. It is nice, and it is of durable polymer construction, so I'm not worried about it falling apart or breaking or anything like that. It is very sturdy for sure, and that plastic, that high quality polymer, it even extends to the front gas block on it, which is nice as well. It's going to be a nice polymer, but it's not for me. As you guys can see on mine, I kind of went with the old school look of it. It's going to be a full length M4 style replica on it, so it's going to have your full length outer barrel on it. I went for the old school triangle front post sight, as well as I put some real steel M4 handguards on it, and I'm pretty happy with it. Speaking of real steel, now this gun is supposed to be mil spec sizing, so you should be able to take any mil spec ready or any real firearm, real M4 rail system, and be able to drop it in as is on here. Now when you do change out your front sight and the handguard cap and things like that, there is some proprietary sizing on it. Now, I haven't confirmed this with real M4 parts, but word on the street is it is going to be mil spec sized. So if you've got some real M4 parts or have access to them, you should be able to swap those out on this Tippmann M4 fairly easy. Again, the reliability of this thing, going back with the household name of Tippmann, they've been in the paintball game for a long time, and they've taken a lot of the technology that they've used on those bulletproof paintball markers and put it inside this airsoft gun. The kick on it's fun. It's not going to be as hard as a kick or hard as a recoil, let's say like a Daytona gun. It is nice though, and it is definitely something. Everybody that's shot this gun or heard me shooting it, it's definitely a head turner. It's a lot of fun, man, and it's just nice to have some kind of response when you pull the trigger. It's a nice loud report. It's louder than an AEG when you shoot it, so the report's nice on it when you pull the trigger, and that kick is just fun. It's satisfying for sure. So if you're looking for something different and you don't mind, playing the CO2 or the HPA game, definitely make sure you check out the Tippmann M4. I'm a big fan of them myself, and I think I'll be using this for a while. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Send me free stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.